Welcome to episode 71 of Pinnacle FC. Wheeler and Osgathorpe with you. We're about to head into the holiday season, a little bit of a break, and we're wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays as well. This will be our final podcast here of 2025. As always, please subscribe, hit the like button. It's been a really fun year covering a lot of different things, including the Club World Cup, but 2026 even bigger and better with our domestic coverage, our Champions League coverage, and a little tournament called the World Cup as well, Jake. Should be a banner year. Happy holidays to you and your family, pal.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a good one. I feel like we've delivered enough profit to keep listeners happy. Hopefully, we've entertained them enough, and we're not just laughing at ourselves, but could just be the case.
Could be. And more importantly, just for you, a new member of your family. It's going to be expanded this year, so it's going to be a busy time. So we'll be back in the new year with the same old podcast as we build towards, like I said, the World Cup. And a lot of excitement over here. I'm sure a lot of excitement over there as England, the second shortest odds to go on and win the World Cup, Jake. This could be under Thomas Tuchel. It could be the time where we don't have to mention that beloved year of 1966 ever again. It'll be 2026. That has a nice ring to it.
It does, yeah. I'm not buying into it just yet. I think I need to see a little bit more. I'm very worried about the conditions over in the States, I've got to say. Not so much Canada, maybe Mexico, but mainly America. I've not checked to see where England are going to be playing their matches to group games yet, but that concerns me. The only positive is that you get such a big squad nowadays. You get 5 subs. You can pretty much change half your team to deal with it. But it'll be exciting.
These 3-minute timeouts that it's embarrassing.
Water break.
But
yeah.
Yeah, water break. They're trying to turn it into basketball, I think, but that's okay. We'll leave that for another day.
As long as it doesn't get to the NFL level, American football, we're stopping every. All right, let's stop. Someone's had a kick.
Well, with VAR, we're kind of there.
We're not far away. Yeah.
Just about there. So, like I said, we'll save that for another day. On this podcast this week, really, it's just the Premier League and Serie A that are playing over the course of, I guess, in between the Christmas, New Year's period. The Premier League from Boxing Day to December 28th, Serie A December 27th to 29th. So we'll just be looking at those games this week. We're going to look ahead to the futures markets a little bit on Pinnacle, where you can go in and find the markets for the respective potential champions of every league. There's nothing that really stands out to me. I'm not sure if that's the same to you, Jake, at this point. So maybe we should just dig into the games. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I probably would say that Arsenal are probably not short enough to win the Premier League, and that they might be value, but you're gonna have to lay out a lot of cash to kind of make it worth your while for another 6 months of the season at -135. But it's the same with Inter in Serie A as well. You've got 2 short favourites there, but I think they should probably both be shorter based on what we've seen so far and the schedules they've faced. But no bets to add to the futures.
The Arsenal one, I'm convinced it's going to happen. They helped me make a considerable profit, almost 5 units last week for me on this podcast. Thankfully, it's been a little bit of a grind, but I feel like I'm ending the season on a high. Remember, all the markets that we use are courtesy of Pinnacle. Winners always welcome. Follow Pinnacle on X for daily betting insights, including market updates and strategies. And join the community on Pinnacle's subreddit as well for direct access to the Pinnacle team. That's about all. We should just dive in to the festive season in the Premier League. I guess we're already there. Last weekend was kind of part of it, and a number of injuries have really loomed large on top of the African Cup of Nations absences, which have really made things quite complicated for a number of teams. Alexander Isak looks like he's going to be out long-term for Liverpool, and Bruno Fernandes pulled up with a hamstring for Manchester United. In a frustrating loss to Aston Villa on Sunday. We're recording this podcast on Monday, so we're dealing with the information up to date as we see it at the time. We might as well start off with the Boxing Day fixture as Manchester United are back at home. It's Manchester and Newcastle United, who have a number of injuries of their own. And the problem with Newcastle, it's cluster injuries. It's a number of players all at the back. Their back line is very much decimated, and they're coming off a 2-2 draw with Chelsea last time out. United in this one, we'll see what they're all about. The squad looking rather thin as Kobe Mainu also missed out with a slight injury. We'll see what his status is for the Boxing Day fixture as well. It's weird with just the one game on Boxing Day, but as a United supporter, it's fine by me. How are you looking at this game, Jake? Is there anything in the market that stands out for you?
Yeah, I think we just got to take the goals. The line set at 2 3/4, and I just these two teams are just so untrustworthy that I don't feel comfortable backing either of them. To be fair, I mean we've said all season long Newcastle away from home are just a completely different kettle of fish to when they're playing at St James's Park, so that puts me off them straight away. And Man United, as you said, they've got so many major injuries. Fernandez being the latest, and then if Mainu's not fit, then who plays in that kind of more advanced midfield role of the two? Amorim famously came out at the start of the season and said Mainu is basically competing with Fernandez for a starting spot. So if Mainu's out, then I'm not too sure who's going to be in there. So yeah, it's I mean, I don't think it'll kind of change the tactic of United, which has been very much attacking football, trying out turn games into basketball matches and trying to outscore their opponents in recent weeks, just because they can't keep anybody out. And I don't expect that to change here because Newcastle they showed last week against Chelsea they're very much the same. They as you said they're so light defensively on numbers that Chelsea created plenty of chances, and United have created the second most expected goals in the entire division behind only Manchester City, but have conceded the 8th most expected goals. So they're wide open in terms of chances created and also conceded, obviously coming off the back of a 4-4 in the last game at Old Trafford. So yeah, I just think that this is more just play the angle of the goals where it could be a little bit of a ding-dong battle. Both teams are a bit light in defence. Both teams will fancy the chances of scoring a couple of goals, and I won't be surprised to see the goal line clear this quite comfortably, and maybe we see like another 3-3 or a 4-4 or something daft.
Yeah, you can back if I mean the goal line is set at 2 3/4 at -120 now. That number's been pushed out from around -115 when I last checked yesterday. You can also back both teams to score an over 2.5 in this one at -107. That number has been pushed out a bit as well. You can also attack this maybe in a little bit of a different way. I think that Newcastle are a type of team that can really challenge Manchester United defensively. They're really, really poor dealing with pace. And that's exactly what Newcastle's front line is all about, and a combative, very strong midfield. So I think that both teams can absolutely score, but if you're looking for maybe a little bit more juice in what you're playing, Newcastle team total over a goal and a half at +127. I mean, last time United played at home, they played Bournemouth. It was 4-4. They conceded twice on the weekend, some really poor defending against Aston Villa. You're right to bring up the central midfield issues. The only thing that they could do, Lisandro Martinez came in and played a 6. He looked much more comfortable in that role than anyone else that they played. It's probably going to be Martinez and Casemiro, which is could be much more defensive in its approach. But Casemiro, he doesn't have the legs anymore, does he, Jake? And he might just be that player that ends up pushing up a little bit more and allowing Martinez to stick. I don't even know how that will work out when you're playing against a really strong combative midfield like
Yeah,
Newcastle. So I
I
don't mind. I don't mind Newcastle in the team total. I don't mind Newcastle on the Asian handicap, to be honest with you. It's at a
yeah.
draw no bet at +112. And I wouldn't talk anyone off that as well. Just the only way I can play this, like you said, the goals or backing some pro Newcastle play in this game. Just with so many players missing for Manchester United, I'm just not there. I'm not there with them anyways. I'm especially not there, even despite the injuries at the back for Newcastle. They're still going to have two good center backs playing, and Lewis Hall can play left back. It's just that right back. I think Lewis Miley played there
Yeah,
last time out.
he did well, to be fair. for the
Yeah.
most part.
And it might be fine considering coming down that left hand side, it's
It's Dorgu.
Dorgu, and I mean, he's got pace, but doesn't like just not an
Yeah,
accomplished wide left
yeah.
player.
I
Yeah,
think keep an
that's
eye on the team use because I have a feeling that with it being at Old Trafford, I think he might play Mason Mount in midfield with Casemiro and play Xerxes in the 10, just to give it a little bit more attacking impetus. Because Mount and Fernandes, in terms of their characteristics, fairly similar. Mount's not the same level of player as Fernandes, but I could see him doing that and playing Xerxes in the 10, which obviously would push the overs up because Mount's not going to do as much tracking as Martinez, but he definitely won't be playing Casemiro and Ugarte. I don't think. I think that'd be
no.
very extreme. Even if he did, I probably would still back goals here because they're just that back three of Shaw, Heaven, and Yoro, supported by Dorgu and Dallo, is not too clever at all. Like you said, getting down the sides, Newcastle with whether it's Elanga or Gordon or Barnes, they should have plenty of joy.
Tough matchup for Manchester United. All right, let's go to the Saturday fixtures on the 27th. Any markets catching your eye, Jake?
Yeah, I want to be against goals at Liverpool. They're playing against Wolves, which may sound a bit daft because in yesteryear, if you got Liverpool at Anfield against a team that have not won a game after 17 league matches, you'd be thinking, oh, they're going to win 4-5-6-0. But I think there's plenty of reasons to get under take the goal line on, which is at set 3.25 at the moment, and you get minus 111 for the under. Yeah, their attack's still not clicking fully. Liverpool, they're only sixth in terms of expected goals, and you compare that to last season, they were streets clear. Injuries, absences piling up. No Salah, Gakpo's questionable. Isak's out for a while. They're very light in that area, which means that I think if Liverpool go 1 or 2 up, I think he'll call the dogs off and try and rest them for the following game, rather than go for a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rack up a score like a Jurgen Klopp team would do. I think they just try and conserve, given how light the squad is. And then you look at the record, and so far this season, only one of their 8 home league games have gone over 3.5 goals, and that was the very first one against Bournemouth. And only 4 have gone over 2.5 goals. So that's an even lower line. Then you flip it around to Wolves, worst start ever in Premier League history, lost 10 on the spin. But 5 of the 6 games since Edwards has come in has gone under 3.5 goals. And I keep saying under 3.5 goals because that would get us a half win by taking this goal line. And the performances actually have been better since he's come in. So they've only collected the 5th fewest expected points in his 6 matches in charge. And if you look at the defensive numbers, they've been really solid and tough to break down. So apart from against Man United, where they conceded over 4 expected goals, that was just a complete aberration. Across the other 5 games they played, they've only conceded 1.07 expected goals per game. So they've been really tight. Brentford 1.28, Arsenal 1.13, Forest 0.74, Villa 0.94, Palace 1.27. So if they can continue at that level at Anfield, then they'll limit Liverpool quite handily to 2 goals maybe. And that's probably going to be enough for Liverpool to win. And the reason I was looking for something else is because Liverpool win to 0 is just really short. And I don't know if I trust that either. So I'm just taking the goal line.
That's my play. I'm backing Liverpool win to 0 because you said it. Just since the beginning of November, Wolves 8 losses from 8, but they've only scored twice over that span. I think some of the attacking injuries.
They scored against Man United and Arsenal, though. That's what scares me.
But United was at home, and Arsenal was completely up against it away from home. Like they had an XG of that game of like nothing. It was minuscule. I think they had 1 shot and 1 shot on target the entire game. And Liverpool, despite how many goals they've conceded over that same span, they have the 3rd best expected goals against over that span of time as well. And so some of the attacking injuries, I just don't think they loom as large as what they can do defensively at home against this Wolves side. At plus 107, I understand what you're getting at. I think it's more likely that Liverpool can put 4 or 5 past Wolves than Wolves score in this game. I just think that there's very little there. So that's going to be my play. Liverpool win to 0 at plus 107. And the data bear, and it's not just Wolves of those 2 expected goals. They have the worst expected goals courtesy of Understat over the course of that same span of time since the beginning of November. Dead last in the Premier League. So Anfield's tough, and I think that Liverpool clean sheet will do it well in this game. So by the way, I like your play. I don't think Liverpool are going to go and score 4 or 5 or 6 in this game. That's why I prefer Liverpool win to nil over any other play. So, all right. Anything else on the Saturday fixtures?
Yes, West Ham versus Fulham. Obviously, we're recording this before Fulham play Nottingham Forest on Monday. But I think, again, the goal line looks low at 2 3/4. Fulham are just a bit of a lunatic team, really, when it comes to goals. All of the last 5 have gone over 2.5, and 9 of the last 11 in the league have gone over 2.5, and obviously over 2.5 will give us a half win. But I think the big thing here is just the magnitude of this game and how important it is for West Ham, because the state of play before Fulham play on Forest is that the West Ham are third from bottom. They're 5 points from safety, 6 behind Leeds, 7 behind Fulham. Obviously, that could change if Fulham beat Forest, then Fulham would extend. But I'm expecting that game not to go Fulham's way, and obviously that will keep Fulham fairly close to West Ham. And it just means that the number of teams that are battling out for relegation reduces quite considerably. So you're looking at West Ham, Forest. I think, well, Leeds are still there at the moment. And Fulham, it's going to be between those 4 teams as to who joins Burnley and Wolves, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just not gone very well for West Ham at all, and the pressure is really on them. So since Nuno was appointed, they sit second bottom for expected points, second bottom for expected goals against, 6th bottom for expected goals scored. So they are really, really poor. And they're going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat, basically, which means going all out, going for broke against teams that are down there to try and claw out. I think this is going to be high scoring. And Fulham played a similar game at Burnley not so long ago, when Fulham were actually closer to the drop zone. And they went there and won 3-2. Quite high scoring, entertaining game, and I expect similar here. So I'm taking the goal line. It's plus 104.
I need to see. I'm with you in everything that you said there. We're recording this before Nottingham Forest Fulham. I just need to see what Fulham looks like, minus Bassi, minus Iwobi. They do have some injuries in this team as well. I just need to see what that looks like, but seems to be a salient play, decent logic as well. I think that the must bet of the week, I'm just going to go back to the well. Arsenal win to nil. Like, they came out on the weekend and did it again. They played Brighton this weekend, who've really struggled from an attacking perspective. But on the season, Arsenal, 8 of their 12 wins have come to nil on the season. And even beyond that, 5 of them have come at home. Like, that's an incredible record. If you just bet Arsenal to nil blindly every game throughout the season, you'd be in the profit by some margin. And I think that that's just a way to approach this. I don't think this is the one area I just don't think the market is completely compensated for. Arsenal at home, win to nil at plus 147. It's just an outrageous market for how Arsenal play, how good they are defensively, the recent track record of their results. And they're going against a Brighton team, like I said, like they're just really struggling in terms of their attacking output. Danny Welbeck hasn't been happy, and you're relying on Danny Welbeck to lead the line anyways, a 35-year-old striker who's better kind of as a role player rather than kind of the head of the snake. So this is an automatic play for me. This is my favorite play of the week again, and let's continue to roll with this. Arsenal went to nil, plus 147.
Does it bother you that they play in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday?
No.
In the big it's quarter final. I think he'll play a full strength team for that one.
Yeah.
No, not bothered. Still taking it.
Doesn't bother
Fair
me.
enough.
Well, so I mean, would that be the only reason why? I mean, you're still getting plus. I mean, it was what, plus 161 on the weekend. Yeah. So I'm just going to continue to roll with it. I'm fine with that. So. Anything else for you, Jake?
I had one down for Chelsea Villa, but I'm really having to wrestle with myself.
I like the sigh there. That tells me that you're in a good old scrap with yourself right now. What are you thinking?
Big time. Yeah, we're having a good dust up. A bit like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul.
That wasn't a good dust up.
Very one-sided fight at the moment. I was thinking both teams to score over 2.5 goals at plus 110 because it's like an automatic play with Villa at the minute because they are still leaky defensively but have so much quality in forward areas. But Um, all the head-to-head data recently has been kind of against that, especially at Stamford Bridge. And I guess the main reason I've been turned off by it is the schedule Villa have got. So they play at Chelsea, at Arsenal back to back, and I just think Unai Emery's just going to go there at both of them and just kind of park the bus and just try and be difficult to beat, rather than play their usual slightly more expansive way. So that's what's put me off it. Uh, but yeah, that's the wrestle I'm having basically, is because I could easily see Emery just going to the team, right, if we get 2 points from those two games, we'll be in a great position, um,
Right.
and just
But
try
then,
and
then
nullify.
you get back Aston Villa on the handicap, which is half a goal. So a draw or a win will suit it at plus 106. They've won 10 matches in a row. And I feel like Chelsea are a little bit up and down. Liam Delap and Estevao should be back for that game, but are they fully fit for that? I just have a really hard time betting against Aston Villa. You explained it really well in the last podcast, kind of their output, what they've been able to do, and I still think the Villa on the handicap is the way to attack this. I know it might be a little bit of a square play right now, although Chelsea's probably more of a public side than Aston Villa. Maybe some individuals haven't caught on how well they have performed, but where they do have depth right now and a lot of different players and versatilities through the midfield. And I think that is serving them really well. And at the fullback positions, in fairness, they've been very good in those areas. And Rodgers and Watkins have done the job up top. So yeah, I have no problem backing Villa on the handicap here. Yeah, and just if it ends in a draw, that's a winning play. And I have a hard time seeing Villa losing. Let's just ride them while they're hot. Let's keep on going. 10 in a row. Beat some good teams, including the Arsenal as well, and look the better side against Manchester United, who are plucky on the weekend. So yeah. The one team I also want to get behind on the handicap this weekend is Bournemouth. I don't think that they played as poorly as things have kind of looked for them. They haven't picked up a win in the Premier League in their last eight. But I think Brentford away is a good opportunity to get back on track. I want to back them on the handicap at minus 110. Bournemouth, again, since the beginning of November, fifth most expected points in the Premier League, but they've only picked up 4 points in that span. So I don't think they've been rewarded for the work that they put in. Brentford, one of the kind of those mid-table teams that, they're good, not great. I think Bournemouth oftentimes play up to their competition or play down to their competition, but I think that they're kind of in the same level, but I'll take my chances with Bournemouth on the handicap here at plus a quarter of a goal at minus 110. I'll back that. If it ends in a draw, you win half your bet. That's still in a bettable range for me for two teams that are similar. I give Bournemouth the edge just based upon talent, production, and current output.
Interesting. I was thinking the other way.
Yeah,
I was
were
thinking the
you?
other way. Yeah, because the head-to-head record, and I think we can take at least the last 2 years head-to-head data pretty well, because I know it's a new manager for Brentford, but they play in a very similar manner, given that they come through the same ideology, philosophy, whatever. Is Bournemouth? They've not beaten Brentford at all since they played in the Premier League. Since they've come in the Premier League together, Brentford have avoided defeat or won, and at home Brentford have won two, drawn one. I think it's a really awkward game for Bournemouth, just because, as I
Do you?
said last year, it's Bournemouth just play with such an intense press, and Brentford just kick it over the top of the press, and it just means that the Bournemouth's ploy to win the ball in the final third doesn't work because Brentford don't allow it to. So I think it's a bad matchup for Bournemouth in that regard. Now, well, obviously time will tell whether Iraola's learnt his lesson and has figured out a way to kind of make something else happen, but I definitely will be looking at Brentford to win the game at plus 129 as opposed to Bournemouth
Interesting.
personally.
I,
Um,
I, I also think that this could very well be the last match for Antoine Semenyo. I mean, this release clause, it's going to bank Bournemouth a lot of money. Uh, s- Ballpark 65 mil. I think this could very well be his last game. I wouldn't be surprised if United, City, or Liverpool come in and pluck the player. I mean, he's just so good, so useful, provides some power and strength. I think required for all those teams. I think he's an ideal fit. And I think that he might put on a little bit of a show in this game just to uh, get that race for his signature heated up just a little bit more. And like I said, I think that Bournemouth just haven't been rewarded for some of the work that they put in. I think this is a decent matchup for them. I'm not too worried about the past history. I'm just more concerned about recent, and I think they have enough there. Yeah. But by the way, Brentford are missing a couple players due to AFCON, a couple players through injury. So they're not full strength right now. They basically went into cruise control at Wolves last time out. I mean, we kind of said on the last podcast, like screaming out to just put a bet on Brentford. So I hope you did. But yeah, there's nothing that this. I just thought that the way that this game would be structured, it would be closer to kind of even across the board of what the market was suggesting. Bournemouth is too considerable of an underdog for me. That's why I just think there's some value playing them when you're getting a quarter of the goal in the handicap. So yeah, that's how I'm going to approach that. Are you looking at anything else? One of the best stats is going to come into play again as Crystal Palace take on Spurs. Palace are a considerable favorite in this one. You mentioned the Carabao Cup. They're playing Arsenal Tuesday. The fixture list has been a nightmare for them. They just got pasted 4-1 by Leeds. Now they're a favorite against Spurs. And I mean, Spurs are looking as Spursy as ever these days. We said it last week. I mean, that Liverpool play made a lot of sense for me. Jake and I oppose one another. I should have proposed a head-to-head. I'm foolish. I never win these on these podcasts. But Christian Romero was sent off at the end of that game. And with no Romero, it's no party for Spurs. I mean, it's hardly a party anyways these days. 29 wins through 58 games with Christian Romero, just 6 wins in 26 without. It's just they're a completely different team. Romero is in and not, and when he's not available, Xavi Simons is out as well through suspension. It's one of those games. I just wanted to point that out. I'm not sure if I can back Palace based upon their injuries and absences and the fixture buildup and what it's done to them, but you can back them at plus 111 on Pinnacle. It might be worth a little bit of a sniff, maybe a half unit play.
I'll just take the goal line. Just take the goal line. Over 2.5 goals at plus 102 is just screaming to be backed. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go on a little tirade here because I cannot understand what Oliver Glasner was doing last week with his team selections. He completely and royally fucked it. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Why are you not starting your players in the Conference League to get in the top 8 and then starting them at the week? Like,
Cups. Who's Cups?
Exactly. But even so, the most infuriating thing for me was that he didn't start his best team in that game. Because the league game, you can just make up for that later down the line. Like, if you lose that game, it doesn't matter. And all you've done is you've played your strong team, got battered to knock their confidence ahead of even more games coming up. Yeah, I don't understand. And then I don't know what he's going to do on Tuesday with the Carabao Cup because that's a big game for them. So it would have made more sense to me to go full strength, rest it, full strength again in that order. But either way, grueling schedule. They play on Tuesday. They continue to create loads of chances. I know they lost 3-0 to Man City, but they racked up over 2 expected goals in that game. In the last home game in the league, defensively they're all over the place. Leeds exposed them a little bit at the weekend. And yeah, their home record 2-4-2. I definitely won't be touching them at plus 112 for that reason because they've not converted enough of those good performances into wins. But their XG process, they're averaging nearly 2 expected goals for per game and 1.4 against. So you're looking at an average of 3.4 expected goals every game they play at Selhurst Park. So why are we getting a goal line of 2.5? I don't know. And as you said, without Romero, Spurs are not the same team defensively. I mean, they're rubbish anyway, but with him out, they're even worse. And they played away from home, scored 15 goals in 8 games. So they've had no issues playing on the counter-attack, and over 2.5 has landed in 7 of the 8 games as well. So again, like with the Palace Fulham game a few weeks ago, where it was a fairly low line, like 2.5. I think it's just automatic play in this when you get the right position and a plus money as well. This is going to be a big bet for me, this one.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, over 2.5 at plus 102. That's a little bit surprising, especially in the Premier League. Yeah, I think that might be the way to approach this one. Yeah, good one. That's all in the Premier League for me. Anything else for you?
No, that's it for me.
Okay. Let's move on to Serie A. Some good games this weekend, including or in between Christmas and New Year's, including Atalanta Inter. Um, Anything there that makes you want to jump on some, get involved in that match?
It would just be the total. Again, it's at 2.75 minus 102. We went with an Atalanta over last week against Genoa, but that completely royally shafted by a 3 minute red card for the Genoa goalkeeper, which meant that it was just basically sit in and hang on for Genoa rather than make it a little bit more open. And Inter have shown that they're more than capable of scoring hatfuls of goals, lead the league for expected goals. I think this could be quite an entertaining game at 2.75, the line at minus 102. That'd be the one that I'd be looking at.
I In my notes, I'm considering playing Atalanta on the handicap, but I haven't fully committed to that. The managerial change is one that's absolutely paid off. They're doing well in Europe right now. It's an interesting one, Serie A this week for me because not all the teams played last weekend. So Inter coming off substantial break. That's why I'm a little bit worried about it. If it was straight
They
up,
played the Coppa Italia, didn't they?
yeah, that
Super Cup, sorry. Super Cup.
yes, yeah, Super Cup this weekend. But if you're just looking at the data from the league, it's been a little bit of a break for some of these teams just in terms of their domestic league play. So, but Atalanta look a much better team since the managerial change. Still have some work to do to climb the table. Inter haven't drawn a game this year, but it's one of those rare matches where I'm thinking that this one could have a draw written all over it, where it would make sense backing Atalanta on the handicap at plus a quarter of a goal. But no firm play there for me. I'm looking forward to the game, to be honest. It should be a cracking tie. I'm looking elsewhere. I think that backing Como away at Lecce could be worth a play. It's way pushed out to minus 120, but Lecce is just a bad team. Like there's no other way of describing it. And Como, home or away, I think are in the backable range at this point. Yeah, just straight up win. Sorry, it's at minus 121 now. I just I rate Como every time they're competitive, whether it's home or away. They're a better, deeper squad than what Lecce brings to the table. So, yeah, I consider making that play. There's not too much. I like Torino to win outright at home against Cagliari. Cagliari struggles. I think it was Pisa they tied 2-2 with last week. Struggled to another draw. I think their odds on, they're probably one of the teams that are favorites to go down. And Torino's coming off a really impressive away win at Sassuolo as well. And they're creating some XG. They had 2 XG in that game, and they've done all right. So I think Torino at home at even money is in a backable range as well. I was also like, you talk about goalkeepers being sent off. Udinese, like, if Fiorentina has been mired at the bottom of Serie A, they had their goalkeeper sent off in the 7th minute as well and ended up losing 5-1 to Fiorentina. I dug in a little bit deeper and looked at the data over the last month or two for Fiorentina, and some of their outlying numbers are okay, especially in terms of the expected goals. They're third in the Serie A since the beginning of November in expected goals, and this was their first win. Perhaps this is the time to jump back or to back them back to back games. I know that might sound crazy considering where we are, but Parma is a really bad team, and Parma are right near the bottom or right at the bottom of the form table in terms of recent play as well. They've really been struggling, so it might be worth the punch either to back Fiorentina. They're away from home, but at a quarter of a goal at plus 101 in the handicap, or just back them outright at plus 138. Have a nibble there. So sometimes you get your first win, your second win can come about. The data's been decent, so yeah, yeah. Parma, the worst expected point total in City A by some margin since the beginning of November. So let's back Fiorentina. The process has been better. They're fifth best in the expected point total over that course of that time. I think based on the data coming off, a much needed win, maybe to lighten the mood. Uh, no European football in between either, which has really complicated things for Fiorentina as well. So yeah, I'll be making a pro crazy. I'll be making a pro Fiorentina play this week.
How the tables have turned.
Yes, yes. Anything else for you?
No, no, nothing else for me in Serie A. Just yeah, like you said, it's difficult trying to find some stuff with some teams off. Yeah, most of the lines look okay. I mean, I was looking at Roma to win under 2.5 goals against Genoa. That good old trusty favourite of mine. But we don't have prices just yet for that one because it's a Monday game. So keep your eyes open for the price when that comes up.
Okay. What's crazy about Lecce since the beginning of November, just 4 goals scored and 5 against. Just again, I think Como has to be the way to play. Anyways, that's it. That's it for this week. Let's get to the big board. What's making your board this week? 5 units to play with, up to 5 matches to put stakes on.
Yeah, so I'm going to go 2 unit play on over 2.5 goals in Palace Spurs at plus 102. I'm going to do a unit on over 2.75 goals, West Ham Fulham at plus 104. A unit on Liverpool Wolves under 3.25 goals at minus 110. And a unit on over 2.75 goals in the United Newcastle game at minus 119.
Okay. Let's do 2 units. Arsenal win to nil over Brighton. Let's go. Let's keep on backing that. Let's go half a unit over the team total for Newcastle over 1.5 at plus 127. I'll also similarly, I'll put half a unit on Liverpool win to nil over Wolves at plus 107. I'm going to back you with a full unit play on Palace Spurs over the total of 2.5.
One more.
Is it Fiorentina? Let's just back Torino to win at home, even money against Cagliari. Yeah, that's it. I want to get a play in on Fiorentina. I've just run out of room, so run out of real estate here. But I will be personally making that play as well. Good stuff, Jake. We'll see you in the future, all the way in 2026. Uh, Wishing you and yours a great holiday season, pal. Great job this year, and great job on this podcast as well here today.
Likewise, mate. Have a good one.
Yeah, and thank you to the listeners and viewers out there. We appreciate you following along. We enjoy doing this every week, and we hope that you enjoy what we produce. On behalf of everyone at Pinnacle, I'm Wheeler. He's Osgathorpe, and this has been episode 71 of Pinnacle FC.